Welcome to the Nevis Newscast. Today is Wednesday, October 4th, 2017. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Phase 1 of 2 phases is now complete at the Nevis Athletics Stadium at Long Point. We'll hear more in this on-site report from Fredicia Liburd.
Good evening, I'm Fredicia Liburd and we are currently at the Nevis Athletics Stadium over at Long Point. I'm here with the project manager, Timothy Keynes, and he'll give us the progress. He'll speak about the progress of the track.
Thank you for this year. We've arrived at practical completion of phase 1. You would recall phase 1 was the building of the track, the installation of the light, and the grassing of the infield. So that has been completed. We are looking now to do some final cleanup and move into phase 2.
And when is phase 2 expected to begin?
Phase 2 is to begin next month. We're just finalizing the outer wings of the stadium. We had to make some changes due to the elevations. So that is expected to be completed this week, and we send that out for costing, bids, and start construction next month.
Okay. And what are your overall impressions of the phase 1, the completed phase 1 so far?
Well, I'm happy with the result. The techs were here doing the checks, the dimensions, the elevations for the certification, which is in progress. So hopefully that comes back sooner rather than later. But looking at it, I'm very pleased with the result. Most of the persons who have been here, especially the ones that have come from overseas for the project, have commented on the location and the views and how nice it is and how much better it will be when we actually build the stadium. So I'm very pleased with the result.
Okay. And who are the contractors for phase 2?
Well, it hasn't been awarded yet. Once we finalize the changes with the design, it would go out for bid and go through the process for the contractors.
Okay. And how can persons bid for construction of phase 2?
Well, it would be made public. So we will provide them with the design, and they will do their costings and submit a bid for the project.
Local contractors?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm Fredicia Liburd reporting live from the Nevis Athletics Stadium.
Thanks, Fredicia. The Eastern Caribbean Strategic Plan for 2017 through to 2021 was officially launched yesterday, Tuesday, October 3rd, 2017, at its headquarters in St. Kitts. The 5-year strategic plan is said to focus on the goals that are needed to improve the financial institution's relevance and address more strategically the expectations of stakeholders in relation to socio-economic transformation. Governor of the ECCB, Timothy Antoine, outlined the 5 main goals of the ECCB's 5-year strategic plan, which includes the enactment of fiscal responsibility legislation, the establishment of a public debt website based on shared up-to-date database, the establishment of a credit bureau, and a resilience fund.
That is to help our governments to establish a resilience fund that could be financed from the flows of CIP, CBI, and from climate finance. So at the individual level, these are funds that we want to help set up. But who is to say that we cannot set up a regional resilience fund? And the idea would be that we take a portion of CBI, CIP, and we put in there, and then we leverage that with climate funds. So that, if we put in $1, we could perhaps end up with $4 or $5 because we're able to leverage climate finance.
If the 5 goals are achieved, the ECCB said it will result in significant changes in the way businesses are conducted, economic plans are developed, and changes to the way of life for every citizen of the Sub-Regional Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS. ECCB's Governor Timothy Antoine spoke by video conference to all member states of the ECCB, with the exception exception of Dominica and Angola, who were devastated by hurricanes in recent weeks. Premier of Nevis and Minister of Finance in the Nevis Island Administration, the Honorable Vance Amory, was present at the video conference, which was hosted at the Emergency Operations Center at Long Point. The Finance Minister gave his impressions of the 5 main goals.
His thrust was, how do we as a region engage in activity which will ensure economic growth so that our people can become employed and that the economies of our country can grow. This is very critical. I think he set out a number of very important objectives and goals. And these, I think, will test our commitment to the region and also challenge some of the processes to which we go and ask us to look afresh at those so that we can make a new approach to the development in our countries.
The Eastern Caribbean Strategic Plan for 2017 to 2021 was held under the theme Transforming the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union Together. Building on a successful outreach campaign with key financial institutions in Toronto, Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honourable Dr. Timothy Harris, visited Ottawa, the Canadian capital, and engaged with the Prime Minister of Canada, the Right Honourable Justin Trudeau, as part of a high-level delegation from the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States, OECS Monetary Council. The meeting on Parliament Hill touched on the important Canadian-Caribbean partnership, trade and investment, Canada's role in hurricane recovery efforts, as well as Canada's hemispheric leadership on the critical issue of climate change, an issue the Caribbean deems as paramount following last month's devastating hurricanes. Prime Minister Harris views this opportunity as timely and intended to seek closer cooperation between Canada, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, and the OECS across a host of issues. The Monetary Council delegation also comprised of Prime Minister of St. Lucia and Chairman of the OECS Authority, the Honourable Alain Chastanet, and the Governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank ECCB, Mr. Timothy Antoine. Still to come, improvement in the collection of trash, says Ocean Conservancy Coordinator. The details when we return.
At a loss as to what's going on in Nevis? Tune into NNC on NTV. Don't worry if you don't have cable either. NNC will bring the news to you wherever you are. Facebook and Facebook Live. YouTube and YouTube Live. NevisTVOnline.com. Roku app, NTV mobile app, Smart TV, Apple TV, and any other IPTV platforms. When me ANC and you ANC, NNC.
Welcome back. In an effort to provide assistance to Dominica, who had been significantly affected by Hurricane Maria, residents on Nevis, as well as private and public organizations, in collaboration with the Nevis Disaster Management Department, NDMD, donated relief supplies to the storm-wrought island. The relief items left Nevis yesterday on the MV Nurse Jean and was received by the Disaster Management Department in Dominica. Communications Officer of the NDMD is Rohan Isles.
Food items, clothing, toiletries, we send based on what is required or requested of the receiving countries. And so if you would have sent items prior, maybe clothing that you wanted to send to Anguilla, they did not necessarily go there because there was no immediate need for them there. However, Dominica has requested some clothing, and so we are sending clothing there.
Isles stated that persons in Dominica could collect their items at the Disaster Management Department in Dominica.
So if you would have sent anything through us, you contact the individuals who are destined to receive these items, that they're to collect them from the Disaster Management Office in Dominica. We have been doing this for probably the last 2 weeks. It's Dominica's turn. We would have done St. Martin, Anguilla. I think Anguilla had multiple trips. And as the need arises, we will continue to facilitate the relief efforts.
He also thanked the volunteers who assisted in organizing the relief efforts and stated that a subsequent trip will be scheduled.
To those of you who may have missed this particular opportunity, as the need arises, we'll be alerting you as to any further trips that would be taking place.
The communications officer used the opportunity to remind residents on Nevis that the hurricane season has not yet ended and will continue for the next 2 months. As such, they should continue to prepare in the event of another hurricane. The Nevis Historical and Conservation Society, NHCS, is gearing up to host another Nevis Coastal Cleanup as part of the Ocean Conservancy's International Coastal Cleanup. The original date for the cleanup was September. After the passing of Hurricane Maria, the date was changed to Saturday, October 14th. Speaking on the data collection on Nevis was retired Ocean Conservancy International Coordinator Miriam Noor, who explained that in 2002 there were 226 volunteers who cleaned up 10.5 miles of coastline, picked up 3,691 pounds of debris as well as 21 pounds of underwater debris. That same year there were 27 groups working at 27 sites. Ocean Conservancy International Coastal Cleanup Coordinator Danielle Moore explained that in 2015 the cleanup saw 440 volunteers in St. Kitts and Nevis. She outlined that there has been an improvement in the collection of trash for the 25 years that the cleanup has been hosted on the island.
Our main concern, even we collected 21,000 items amounting to 3,302 pounds of trash, which is a lot. But in comparison to the other years, as far back as 2000 and way before I came on, Miss Noor indicated earlier that there was more trash being collected. So it shows an improvement over the last 25 years. At least up until 2015.
Moore clarified that plastic caps and plastic bottles remain a huge concern for the organizers.
But our main concern is the plastic bottles and plastic caps, because in consecutive years, that has been the main trash collected along the coastline. In 2015, there were 2,332 plastic bottle caps collected and 4,706 plastic bottles collected. Now it has since dropped. We had in 2016 we had less volunteers, so we don't really have that same fair comparison of 400 because we had half as many. So plastic bottles and plastic caps are still our major concern, because we collected 2,520 plastic bottles and around 866 bottle caps.
The coordinator confessed that while the cleanup is pivotal to keeping the island clean, it is also used as a statistics generator to evoke change in the disposal of trash within the Caribbean region.
These statistics are important because other islands, such as Antigua and Barbuda and all the other Eastern Caribbean islands, they use these statistics, because we're not the only islands doing this for years. They use these statistics to implement laws, or at least enforce laws, to prevent trash from washing up on our beaches. So if all the islands have a collective effort to reduce the amount of trash, particularly plastics that are being washed up, it's going to make a big effect. Some Caribbean islands have already made a ban on plastic bags. Some are transitioning from the ordinary plastic grocery bags into green bags. Everybody's doing a little bit of everything to drop how much garbage washes up on our beaches.
Moore explained that the garbage washed up on the beaches in the Federation may not always belong to the residents on the island, but rather are washed up from other Caribbean islands. The Nevis Coastal Cleanup will be hosted on Saturday, October 14th from 7 a.m. to noon at various locations throughout the island, and will end with lunch at Wally Beach Resort. The annual International Coastal Cleanup has been in existence for over 32 years. However, Nevis is celebrating a milestone anniversary of 25 years of participation. And that brings us to the end of this edition of the Nevis Newscast. I am Bronte Swanston Hendrickson. Thank you for viewing.